today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My husband's gambling is out of control. Jim did pawn my wedding ring to go gamble.
He's lost all his money.
So you've gambled away $800,000.
But he gets mad if we use too many paper towels to dry our hands.
Now,
did you just have to sell a car to pay bills?
Yeah.
What'd you do with the money you got with the car?
Gambled away the next day.
is he about to lose his family?
I don't have control anymore of you.
There was no point in talking to you.
Don't you start fights so you can go gamble?
I have before.
You said I start calling her a slut and a tramp, so I have a reason to storm out so I can go gamble.
Jim gets mad, and he hits the door and knocks it off the hinges. Because you're manic.
You are out of control. Calm down. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, Amber says in the year and a half that she's been married to her husband, Jim, things have gone from very good to very, very bad. Gone are the Corvettes, the Suburban, the Acura, the Winnebago, the fancy clothes, $300,000, and an extremely lucrative golf pro shop and driving range. Amber says Jim is now unemployed, practically homeless, and has an anger problem that has spiraled so out of control, the police have been called twice in just the last week. Amber says those aren't the only problems. She says that she only found out in the last year that her husband is what she calls a compulsive gambler, and now she's not sure if their newlywed marriage is even going to survive. Take a look.
My husband Jim's gambling is out of control. Anytime Jim has a chance, he will gamble. Jim gets manic when he's gambling. Blow every penny he has. It's just out of control. When I first met Jim, he was extremely well off. He had a very lucrative business, 3 vehicles. He had a nice house, but now every bit of it's gone.
Since I've been married to Amber, I've probably lost around $300,000. In my lifetime of gambling, I've probably lost over $800,000.
Jim opened 3 credit cards in my name, and 6 months later, I looked online and saw that he had run me 18 grand into debt in 1 month.
Because of my gambling losses, I've sold virtually everything that's any value to me. 2 Corvettes that I sold. I had a motorhome that I bought with winnings that when I lost, I sold it. One time I told Amber that I had testicular cancer.
I spoke to his ex-wife, and she told me he, in fact, never had cancer. So all the times Jim said that he was going to the doctor for checkups, he was actually gambling. Who lies about having cancer? The worst thing Jim did was pawn my $10,000 wedding ring to go gamble.
That's one of the things I'm most ashamed of. That was kind of a sacred thing that we had.
I couldn't even speak. I was so angry. I'm totally fed up with Jim's gambling. This is it. If Jim doesn't get help, I'm gone.
Okay, Jim, let me start out by saying I need to know what your agenda is in being here, because if what she's describing is true, and I think most of it you confirm, is I don't know what to believe from someone with your history or not. When you're talking, how do I know whether I'm being conned, lied to, or told the truth?
Dr. Phil, you can't with me. Right now, I wouldn't be here if I did not want to save my marriage and my family. And that's my real agenda right now.
Well, I'm sure you do in the moment.
Right.
Because as you know, one of the things they say about sociopaths and pathological liars, because you're a bright guy, that's part of the problem, is there's a difference between being sorry for what you've done and being sorry that you got caught.
True.
Okay, what do you think?
I think he's here as last resort.
Last resort, what do you mean?
Well, we're not living together now.
Right.
I'm on the verge of filing for divorce.
Right.
He doesn't see his son regularly. And so I think that this is the last resort. If he doesn't get help now, there's nothing else to lose.
I think that's unfair what not seeing my son regularly. I see my son.
Because you're gambling.
Well,
You want to see him because you're gambling.
There's times that you've kept him away from me also.
Because you're gambling.
Well, there's times we argue and you say you're not going to see your son today because of this. So.
Because you're manic.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
What do you think's wrong with you?
I don't know. I mean, I have a compulsion where if I knew what was wrong, I would have fixed it.
Not necessarily. You can have a brain tumor and know what's wrong. Doesn't mean you can fix it.
I've been to casinos where I'll leave and compelled to go back, and there's a feeling that I have to be there.
You went gambling last night.
Yes, I did.
You came to L.A. to the Dr. Phil show to get help for your compulsive gambling.
I asked him last night if he wanted to see his son.
And you went out gambling last night.
Yes, we did. Yes, I did. I can say that, Saturday night we got in an argument and it triggered a lot of stuff, and that's what usually happens to me is when I'm alone, that's what happens.
What do you think about that?
I asked him many times, and he said that he was just walking around.
And I was walking around for a long time. It was later in the evening when I...
What could you possibly gamble? I haven't even paid bills. What could you possibly have to gamble?
Not much.
You did have an opportunity to see your son last night, but you went and gambled instead. Is that the bottom line?
No, that's not the bottom line.
So
no.
What is it?
The bottom line is that everything has to be on Amber's terms. And one moment she told me Saturday night when I was trying to help my son up the stairs, we were going to go get something to eat, and I'm trying to help my son up the stairs, and she started arguing with me on the stairs that she wanted me to let him walk by himself. And that started a fight to where she told me just to leave him alone. That is very true. And she told me to leave him alone for the rest of the night. So I did. I went back up to the room, and I stayed there Saturday night for the rest of the night by myself. She called me up afterwards, and then she was going to let me come back. And, Amber, that's what's not true about it.
I told you to let him hold the rail with his other hand so he had two hands balancing, and you threw a fit.
I just didn't want my son to fall.
What does that have to do with you gambling?
Something triggers, it triggers me when we argue. There's times I've had
But don't you start fights so you can go gamble? You've admitted
before.
that.
I
You
have
said,
before.
I start calling her a whore and a slut and a tramp to start a fight, so I have a reason to storm out so I can go gamble. You said that yourself.
I have, but that's not the only time that ever happens.
Have you gambled away your business?
Yes.
Did you pawn her wedding rings?
Yes.
Did you lie about having cancer?
Yeah.
Did you lie about a wife, a fake wife?
Yep. Thanks for that one.
What?
No, I mean, it wasn't...
Still stuff is painful to me.
Okay.
When I found it out, you made me feel crazy because you got mad because I looked you up. You're like, well, why'd you look me up?
Did you tell her, what, are you a victim here? What do you mean, thanks for that one? She's outing you on something? Did you lie about a cat?
No, I took a cat that I had before I ever met her. I had a cat. She hated the cat. It was at my house. I took it to the Humane Society to get it.
You lied about the cat.
And then I was afraid to tell her because she got so upset about that stupid cat.
I got upset about the lie,
I took
not
it back
the
in my
cat.
house and left it.
The lie, not the cat.
Because, well, I understand. I just didn't want the cat to die. And, I mean, okay, I did lie about a cat, yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to see.
I know, but all that stuff is written down, but it doesn't tell you what I was going through and the emotion that she throws out there when she doesn't have something.
Did you just have to sell a car on Sunday to pay bills?
Yeah.
Because you'd gambled away the...
Yes, I did.
What'd you do with the money you got with the car?
I gambled away the next day.
Have you conned her into opening credit cards that you ran up gambling debt on?
That was not the original intent, but yeah, I did.
That's what you did.
That's what I did, yeah.
So you've gambled away about $800,000 total.
In the last few years, yeah, but more than that over my lifetime, yeah.
But he gets mad if we use too many paper towels to dry our hands.
You lie about going to Gamblers Anonymous.
I've been to Gamblers Anonymous. I lied that I went there a couple times. Yes.
Was this that last time when I
No,
asked you
no.
to
That's when I.
advise
That's
that
when I
guy?
did. That's when I definitely
But
went.
sometimes you say you're going there when in fact you're going.
Yeah, gambling. Yep.
Jim says he can hit as many as 8 casinos in one day. We'll talk about that when we come back. Well, I didn't make it up.
It just makes me sick to my stomach, Dr. Phil.
And then I feel bad for you because you're in traffic all day.
And later, you have gambled away your life. You have gambled away your future. You lie to cover it up. I will not let you deflect from that. I will not let you waste your time here. That is not why we're here.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. Why was Dad awarded custody of their daughter?
What happened in that court for them to say, I'm giving this child to an accused molester?
During that trial, I was portrayed as being crazy.
Why did your father testify against you in trial?
Who's the victim here?
I reached to get Sophie, and Lindsay said that I had assaulted her.
You do not touch me.
Hey.
Call the police right now.
Yes.
You just assaulted me.
And who's the villain?
I had a traumatized 3-year-old girl saying, my daddy hurt me.
Where is he going to hurt you at?
A child does not say those things unless it happened or she was coached.
You cannot coach a 3-year-old. Ask anyone.
That is coaching.
That's Monday.
It's so sickening to have a fence that holds you back from what used to be yours. Just, it's sickening. I had a very, very successful golf shop. Batting cages, driving range, putt-putt, all that good stuff, pro shop. The first year I had it, we did almost $800,000 in gross sales. It was a cash cow. And the more cash I brought in, the more I went and gambled. But when you're gambling away every bit of profit that you make at a casino, you can't stay in business. Everything caught up and the business shut down. The biggest disappointment I have is that I'm not leaving a legacy of that to my kids at all. And that's just sad. It's just sad.
Amber says that it wasn't until after she tied the knot with Jim that she discovered he is a compulsive gambler who has since lost $300,000, their business, and his latest job. Now, Jim says he is so obsessed with gambling that he often incorporates it into business trips. He admits that in one day he can hit as many as 8 casinos across 3 states. Now, Jim leaves home at 5 a.m. He drives 92 miles, arrives at Casino 1 in Michigan at approximately 6:21 a.m., gambles for an hour, leaves Casino 1 at 7:21 a.m., drives 62 miles, arrives at Casino 2 in Michigan at approximately 8:21, gambles 40 minutes, leaves Casino 2 at 9 a.m., drives 51.8 miles, arrives Casino number 3 in Indiana at approximately 10 a.m., gambles for an hour, leaves Casino number 3 at 11 a.m., drives 42.4 miles, arrives at Casino 4 in Indiana at approximately noon, gambles for an hour, leaves Casino number 4 at 1, drives 8.8 miles, arrives at Casino 5 in Indiana at approximately 1:30, gambles an hour, leaves 2:30 p.m., drives 1.9 miles, arrives Casino number 6 in Indiana at approximately 2:45, gambles an hour, leaves at 3:45, drives 64.1 miles, arrives at the golf shop number 1 at approximately 4:40 p.m., buys clubs for the business, spends 20 minutes buying the clubs, leaves 5 p.m., drives 25.3 miles, arrives at golf shop 2 at approximately 5:45 p.m., does more business, spends another half hour buying clubs, leaves 6:15, drives 35 miles, arrives golf shop 3 at 6:45, does more business, spends 45 minutes buying clubs, leaves 7:30, drives 19 miles, arrives Casino 7 in Illinois, approximately 8, gambles for an hour, leaves 9 p.m., drives 36 miles, arrives Casino 8 in Illinois, approximately 9:30, gambles an hour, leaves at 10:30, arrives home, 187 miles, 3 hours. Arrives approximately 1:10 a.m. Indiana. Total time lapse, 20 hours and 10 minutes.
In all fairness with that, not in all fair, that is actually before she, I did that before.
But you've done
I haven't hit
3, 4.
I've done 3 or 4 when we
And then I feel bad for you because you're in traffic all day.
Well, I didn't make it up.
No, I know.
You just got caught.
I mean, you had to get. I couldn't find those with a map and a flashlight. You had to tell us where they were. What do you think about that?
It just makes me sick to my stomach, Dr. Phil. I mean,
Sometimes it helps to see it all put together, doesn't
I
it?
never thought about it quite, like that. I just, like right now, the segment before that where I saw standing outside the fence and looking at my old shop, that was, because that shop was supposed to be for my kids down the road. And
So that's one of the benefits of being here. You see your life kind of produced on film.
Yeah.
And here's a big question that I want you and, well, really both of you to think about. This is a big question that you have to ask yourself. There is a big difference between the irresistible impulse versus the impulse not resisted. That's what you have to ask yourself. That's the difference between addiction and choice. Are you dealing with an irresistible impulse, or is this an impulse not resisted? There's a big difference between those two. I want you to think about it over the break. Next, we'll talk about why the police were called twice last week, as well as whose door was broken, who was pushed to the ground, and who spit at whom. All of that when we come back.
Last week, the police had to be called because of Jim's outbursts. He's about middle of the garage.
She did lunge at me.
So then he kind of pushes me back.
She started to try to close the door on me.
Jim hits the door and knocks it off the hinges. This has gotten absolutely ridiculous.
Amber says just last week, Jim was in one of what she calls his manic moods and started an altercation that got so out of control, the police were called twice. Take a look.
I don't think you understand.
Don't even give me that crap. No. As a result of Jim's gambling, he has become a very angry person.
I don't have control anymore of you.
There was no point in talking to you. When Jim loses money, he becomes verbally abusive. Bitch this, you're a whore, fat ass, and then he'll disappear for a whole day.
No, that's not true.
You would say, though, okay.
When Amber confronts me about gambling, I know she's going to hold me accountable. And that makes it 100 times worse.
Last week, the police had to be called because of Jim's outbursts. Jim wakes me up at 4 in the morning after going through my phone and accusing me of talking to another guy.
I saw some text messages that I thought were inappropriate. In the back of my mind, it triggered to me that I got cash in the house, and this is my opportunity to maybe go gamble.
Kept escalating. And he takes my phone and he's like, I'm leaving. Jim takes my car keys, $1,800 in cash that was on my counter for bills, and heads out to my car. He's about middle of the garage, and I run past him.
Amber came up, and she was trying to get her purse, and she did lunge at me, and she did get me right across the neck.
So then he kind of pushes me back, and then that's when I go back. And then I'm pissed. A few hours later, Jim comes back to the house and wants to talk.
Because I still wanted answers. She started to try to close the door on me.
Jim gets mad, and he hits the door and knocks it off the hinges. I was completely freaked out by Jim's behavior, so I messaged my friend, and she called the police. This has gotten absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. At this point, have you lost your temper?
Yes.
You ripped this door off the hinges.
No, they did not rip the door. The door came off the hinges.
Really? Is that how we want to spend our time talking about that? I've lived in 20 houses, and I've never had a door come off the hinges. Are we really going to go through the semantics of how a door came off the hinges? Were you there?
I was there.
Were you pissed?
Yep.
Did the door come off the hinges?
Yes.
Calm down. That's
It's kind of
dangerous.
hard to calm down, Dr. Phil, when you got lighter fluid going on top of you. And she can say some things during an argument, and she knows exactly what buttons to push. And it's almost like she's trying, and you can admit this, all right? She will say whatever she can to infuriate me, and she does it intentionally. And I know I shouldn't let it get there.
Okay, you're just sitting there knitting, and I just say something to be mean and make you go gamble. Bull crap. No, it's after you said something. And
Forget about the gambling. I'm talking about just the arguments. I mean, they get out of control a lot of times.
Because I just out of the blue say mean things to you. Seriously, I don't do that.
You know, you said a lot of things on there, the things I call you. Why don't you talk about some of the things you called me one time?
Because I don't want to embarrass you.
You don't want to embarrass me? Okay. Old man.
Yeah, it was rude. I shouldn't have said
She talks about how I'm saggy and I'm, you know, bald and all the other good things, all right?
Well, I used to think he was bald because of chemo, so.
I mean, and I could go on with other things. She can add some fuel to the fire sometimes, Dr. Phil, and I mean, that's not an exaggeration at all.
I don't break doors off hinges.
No, but you do smash iPads. She came into my store one time and actually and it was on tape. She walked in and she just took the iPad and smashed it.
I didn't. I smashed the phone on the iPad.
You broke the iPad. It's a $300, $400 iPad that she just smashed.
Well, you know what I think?
I'd like to know.
Well, two things.
Okay.
Number one, all that was 5 minutes of my life I can never get back. Just blah, 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 blah.
Sorry about that.
And two, you are a man. You never put your hands on a woman in anger ever for any reason. You never call a woman the names you're calling her. She is your wife. She is the mother of your children. There is no excuse to verbally, mentally, emotionally, or physically abuse a woman. I don't care what she does. You turn around and walk away. If she follows you, you run. If she runs after you, you run faster. You get away, but you do not aggress against a woman. You just simply don't do it. Man up and stop doing that, or you're going to jail. That's the way it will work out, Jim. I'm just telling you.
Dr. Phil, I've walked away. And
then
every time
do
I
it.
walk,
then walk away 10 more times. Run away. And if you can't do that, get a divorce, move to another state. We're not here to talk about the fact that she can squirt lighter fluid on your explosive anger. We're here to talk about the fact that you are out of control. You have gambled away your life. You have gambled away your future. You lie to cover it up. You have explosive anger when confronted. I will not let you deflect from that. I will not let you waste your time here. That is not why we're here.
I feel very betrayed about some messages that I saw.
We weren't together. You just told me 2 days
Well,
before.
you're telling the guy
when
you were
wanted
my ex-wife. I don't think we were divorced yet.
Well, you told me Friday night I was your ex-wife, so you go gamble.
I have a question. Is this an irresistible impulse, or is it an impulse that you are not resisting? That is a huge question that determines how we attack this problem. I am here trying to help you. I'm not here to throw you under the bus, and trust me, you would fit very nicely. But I am not here to throw you under the bus. I am here to give you your life back. I want to help you. I want you to be out from under. This has got to be horrible. I cannot imagine what it's like to wake up in the morning and realize that you have just gambled away your child's college education, that you have just gambled away the ability to provide for your child, that once again you caved and let them down and have to look yourself in the mirror and know, I did it again. Aren't you tired of that roller coaster?
More than you know, Dr. Phil.
Well, apparently I do know. Is that not just killing you?
Every day.
Do you want out of that?
Yeah. Very much.
So tell me your opinion. Is this an impulse not resisted, or is this an irresistible impulse?
It's an irresistible impulse. I mean, there's been times I wake up and it's just almost like talking to me. Get out of the house, go do it. And I'm like a zombie. I can't get away from it. I've tried so many times. I've driven 60 miles to go and then turned around and came back and then actually ended up turning around and going back.
So you know, left to your own devices, no matter what you say, we put you in the wild, you're going to find a way to do it.
That's what happens. I was in the wild last night. I was by myself last night, and I found a way. And
After I called him crying about not being able to afford a rental car because I'm going to take my daughter to the beach, and I called him crying because we didn't have enough money in our account for me to get the rental car.
You tried to back out of doing the show this morning.
I did.
For the 5th time.
Maybe like the 10th time, Dr. Phil.
Well, it's the 5th time that I know about.
Yeah.
Why?
Because the main reason I wanted to come on this show was to try to save my marriage and to stop gambling. And she flat told me that the marriage was not savable. And I have accused her, trying to get her to admit to me about text messages back and forth with people that are friends of hers. And Amber's, you know, there were some messages that I saw that right now still are very betrayed. I feel very betrayed about, and a lot of stuff got said, just not bad, but not flirtatious or anything to say. But
We weren't together. You just told me 2 days
well,
before.
you're telling the guy you're my ex-wife. I don't think we were divorced yet.
Well, you told me Friday night I was your ex-wife, so you go gamble.
Well, but you tell
They
this
said
guy
we're-
you actually are my ex-wife. Okay? And then you're asking
No, I
when you're
didn't say
going to
we were
meet Monday or
divorced.
Tuesday.
I didn't say we were divorced.
Yeah,
I never-
well, he sure thinks we are. I mean, I can certainly pull those back up.
All right, Amber says Jim is so jealous and worried that she's cheating that he even texted her and pretended to be a boyfriend just to see if he could catch her. We're going to talk about that burden when we come back. You're lying to her, calling her names, ripping the door off.
Real catch.
She could just stop a car out on the street at random and trade up.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
You have to go see your daddy. No. He's gonna hurt you.
A child does not say those things unless she was coached.
You cannot coach a 3-year-old.
That is coaching.
That's Monday.
Jim is so jealous. He's always suspecting that guys are wanting to talk to me or I'm wanting to talk to them.
Amber is a very attractive lady, and I am very paranoid about how other men look at her.
One of Jim's concerns with me going on this show was that I was going to get a lot of Facebook friend requests. Jim even made an offhanded comment when I told him I looked up the assistant producer for this show to see who I was speaking to. Right now, I have the duties of mom and dad. The last thing I'm thinking about is another man. Jim needs to work on his issues right now instead of putting the focus on me.
Jim, do you struggle with jealousy issues?
Very much, yes. For the first year and a half, and that was something that Amber was very good about, was that she cut off all ties to any man in her life other than me and her family. And I really, nobody had ever done that for me before, and it meant a lot to me.
Have you ever heard the old saying, what I fear I create?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're worried she's going to take up with somebody else. You are doing everything you possibly can to guarantee that's going to happen. The way you are treating her, the way you are conducting yourself, she could just stop a car out on the street at random and trade up.
Sorry, that was actually really funny.
I mean, seriously, come on. You're lying to her, calling her names, ripping the door off or knocking the door off, whatever semantics you want to play. You're gambling away her future, the child's future.
Real catch.
Well, it's hard to fall off the floor.
Yeah.
He doesn't even stay at the house. He was living in his store.
Which means, but look, here's the good thing about behaviors. Behaviors have a beginning and an end. I'm one of those people that believes you are what you do. When you stop doing it, it's over. You can stop doing that and start doing this. You create a new history that creates a new future. You can really change what you're doing here. Seriously, Jim, if you really want to face this, you really want to get this, really grab it by the horns and deal with it straight up instead of running from it, you can change this whole thing. You can predict a whole different course of events if you will change what you're doing. But you can't do it by playing games. You can't do it by continuing this pathological behavior. You lie, you steal by credit card, mail fraud, taking money that is meant to go to other people, losing it by gambling. And by the way, you're not very good, right? You're not a very good gambler.
No, actually, Dr. Phil, nobody's a good gambler.
No,
honestly.
The odds are against you, seriously.
Yeah, I know,
the odds are against you. If you play long enough, they're going to get you. All right, look, police detectives have been in touch with Amber since her altercation with Jim last week. There are charges that Amber can press. Is that the thing to do? Is it all about accountability here? She says she wanted to hear what I had to say first before proceeding. I'm going to share my thoughts about exactly what I think needs to happen here, and I'm going to put verbs in my sentences and be very specific. We'll be right back.
One time, I filed a temporary restraining order against Jim. After the cool-off period, I could have extended the restraining order, but I didn't because Jim promised he'd go to counseling for his gambling.
And I did go one time. The other times I told her I was going to Gamblers Anonymous, I actually went and gambled.
He completely fooled me. It was, again, another lie.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
We have a lot of fun here in the studio audience.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click Be in the Audience, or you can call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445.
Jim spends more time thinking about gambling, trying to get money to go gamble, or actual gambling than spending time with his own son. Jim will disappear for days at a time gambling and not even call and check on his son. That's not what a good father does.
I have missed out on 60% of my son's first year. So I've missed out on so much first for my one-year-old. I know I'll never get that back. He's only going to be a baby once in his life.
When I confront Jim about it, he turns it around and blames it on me. It's extremely frustrating. Jim needs to understand in order to be a good father, you're either in or out. There's no in between.
Amber says her newlywed marriage is on the rocks at best. Her husband Jim says he's open to improving their relationship, but Amber says he's a master manipulator, and frankly, she says she'll believe it when she sees it. You two have an interesting dynamic. You criticize him, and you go, no, 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 no. Then, in another breath, you say everything she just criticized you for about yourself. So when she says it, you don't like it. But in another moment, you say exactly the same thing about yourself. You just don't like hearing it from her.
It's true.
You're real quick to take his inventory.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm pissed at him every day, and so yeah, I have my fuse with him. It's just, yeah, like I have no grace with him anymore.
What are you most upset about? Not
The lie.
behaviors, just
Oh.
what do you feel most? You feel betrayed? You feel
I feel
what?
abandoned. I feel scared and abandoned. I feel lonely. I mean, and I'm pissed. I'm so mad.
My belief is that behind anger is always hurt, fear, or frustration. What is it for you? Has he hurt you?
Oh, I'm very hurt. I have feelings I've never knew existed.
What do you miss most about him?
His company, because even when he's there, he's not there. Like, he's thinking about something else. And we used to have a lot of fun. We used to just sit on the couch and watch Dr. Phil. We did, actually. We did.
We did.
We did. But, and I miss his company. It's very lonely. I want to cry again.
You were going to be a family.
We were a family. Yeah, we had a little boy, and we have a little boy, and he deserves the very, very best of both his parents. And I can't be both. I can't. I've tried.
What are you afraid he's going to miss?
Every child needs a father. Every child needs a good father. You know, I could be the best mother in the world, but it still doesn't take the place of him not having a father there.
If that doesn't happen, and the day comes where he says, "Why did I have to grow up without my daddy?" What are you going to tell him?
I don't know. I don't know.
How are you going to answer that question if the day comes when he's 10 or 12 years old and he says, "What did I lose to? What did you pick over me, Dad? Why weren't you here? Why weren't you at my games? Why weren't you there? What did I lose to?" What are you going to tell him?
Dr. Phil, I don't ever want to tell him I had that conversation with my son. I don't.
When he says, "What was more important to you than me?"
Nothing. Nothing's more important than him. There's nothing more important than him. I want to fix this really bad. I love that little boy more than anything in the world.
Well, Jim and Amber are dealing with several issues: gambling, anger, jealousy, insecurity, abuse. My plan for them when we come back. Want to get something off your chest? Sign up for the drphil.com community and weigh in on your favorite episodes and share your personal stories with other community members. Plus, get started on your own blog to share your thoughts on the topics that interest you most. I'll be reading those message boards. Log on to drphil.com today. Jim, I don't know why you gamble. I feel like I know how to stop it. Oftentimes, maladaptive behavior begins for one reason and continues for a whole separate set of reasons. We do know there's an anxiety issue involved. You're kind of looking for that next high. It can get to become a coping skill, both emotionally and neurologically. Your brain can get to the point that it takes something like that for arousal, or you're really stuck in kind of a dark loop where it's just nothing gets you going. And that's going to require an intervention at a neurological level, and it's going to require an intervention at an emotional level. You can white knuckle it for a period of time, but your brain will take you back there. That has to be dealt with. At this point, do you need to prosecute him? No. Do you need to believe him? No. Do you need to expose yourself to abuse by him? No, 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 no. Because the first thing I'm going to do is take him out of the game. I want to ship him off to a place called Onsite in Tennessee. It's a worldwide leader in intensive workshops specializing in really trauma-based lifestyles. And we are going to tailor a very specific program for him. He's going to go from there to the P&P Center, where he's going to have neurological workups and brain scans to find out what's going on with him neurologically so that can be stopped. Those two things need to happen first to break you out of this cycle. And then we're going to determine what protocol needs to happen after that. And I say, I need you to be willing to immerse yourself in that. Or are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to lean into it and do that?
Yes.
What do you think about what I'm saying to you? What are you feeling right now?
It's sad, but I don't want to live like that anymore.
Tell me why you're sad.
Not going to see my son. Amber.
But like I told you, if you get help, I mean, I'd give up 2 weeks of my life to have a future, to have 20 years.
Just, you know, being away from everybody. But it's the only way I'm going to have a future.
Look, the quickest way from A to Z is not always in a straight line or at the most feverish pace. And you need to be taken out of the game. You know it, and I know it.
Yep.
And there's some unknowns here, but the fact that you're emotional about this tells me you're serious about it. We got a deal?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to thank all of my guests. We'll see you next time. We got a plan. Guys, thank you very much.
Memories can kill ya, but it didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive. Call it.
You know we gon'